My name is Mackenzie Ensley, and I'm going to tell you about the Global Scholars Program here at Troy University in the Sorrell College of Business. In this program, we focus on doing business in a global setting, since today's world is so interconnected. To build onto this, we also focus on developing a global mindset, which is what we will be focusing on in this video. Having a global mindset means thinking away from yourself, and instead thinking about what the global significance of actions can be instead. It is not easy to look past yourself and focus on others, so in this class, we have gone through 4 steps to allow us to have such a mindset. The first is opening our eyes. To do this, we have to identify how we view the world, which can be broken into 5 categories: egocentric, idiocentric, sociocentric, multicentric, and geocentric. Having an egocentric worldview means to have a worldview based on oneself. This is where pretty much all of us start out. So if this is how you think, trust me, you're not alone. Next is an idiocentric worldview, which means having a worldview based on one's group. Although it is a little bit more broadly minded than the egocentric worldview, there's still a lot to improve on. Next is the sociocentric worldview, which is based on one's nation. While this is still a lot more broad than an egocentric or an idiocentric worldview, it can still be expanded upon. Then we have the multicentric worldview, which is based on multiple cultures. This is far more inclusive than any of the previously mentioned worldviews, but there can still be some improvement. Last is the geocentric worldview, which is based on the whole Earth. This is the goal for everybody to have a global mindset. By identifying your mindset, we are able to see how we think and how we can expand our thinking to be on the level of a global citizen. This worldview is very important since it determines how we perceive of and act around others. A quote that I believe perfectly encapsulates this idea of a geocentric worldview comes from Saudi astronaut Sultan bin Salman Al Saud, who stated that, "The first day or two, we all pointed to our countries. The third or fourth day, we were pointing to our continents. By the fifth day, we were only aware of the earth." I believe that this perfectly sums up how we should think of our fellow humans, regardless of what country they're from or the language they speak. The next task is opening our minds. This occurs when we acknowledge our biases and make a point to erase them from our minds. As the Dalai Lama once said, "A biased mind never sees the complete picture, and any action that results will not be in tune with reality." Because of this, we must work to see all humans for what they are, as opposed to what we assume they should be based on our internalized prejudice. By relearning how we think of others, we open up a world of new possibilities based on the relationships we will be able to develop as a result. After this, we have to open our hearts. It is easy to think based on numbers and statistics, but that is complicated once it is taken into account that the data comes from real people with families and lives. Instead of trying to ignore the human life that is affected by our decisions, we should embrace it and strive to act ethically and in ways that help others. Humberto Maturana, a Chilean biologist, stated that love is the only emotion that enhances our intelligence, which is accurate for all of us. When we start taking into account the consequences our actions have on others, then, and only then, will we be able to successfully start making sound decisions. Finally, we all must open our hands, or, as I like to say, go out and take change into your own hands. However, in order to be the person who makes a difference for others, you first have to make a difference for yourself. It is easy to be kind to others, but how do you treat yourself? You can't fight for others to be treated right while constantly putting yourself down, lest you be considered a hypocrite. This is seen in the example of a puzzle. When you've spent hours putting together a puzzle, only to find that you were missing the final piece, what do? Do you tear the puzzle apart? Do you abandon it? Or do you look for the missing piece? I think I speak for most people when I say that I try to find the missing piece so that I can complete the puzzle that I have worked so hard on. We can show kindness and grace to an inanimate object, yet we have so much difficulty doing the same for ourselves. We are all human, so we are all in a constant state of messing up and having to correct ourselves. Everyone does it, so there's no reason to be hateful to yourself. Once you can love yourself, That is when you can successfully love others without tearing yourself apart in the process. Just like Stephen Chbosky said in his book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, we accept the love we think we deserve. This can easily lead us to let people who harm us into our lives. Would you support your friends staying with someone who belittles them and makes them feel insignificant? No, you wouldn't. So don't let yourself do it, even when that other person is you. When you can love who you are and embrace your mistakes, that is when you can show love to others, which is really what being a global citizen and having a global mindset is all about. Developing such a thought process and pattern of behavior starts and ends with yourself. So that is where the process begins and ends. By opening your eyes, mind, heart, and hands, you can become someone who is focused on doing good for others. Being a global citizen isn't easy, and at times it may seem impossible to ever feel satisfied with the world around us. As painful as this is, we can make it our goal to see to it that the problems we see change for the better. This is what we have focused on in our class, The Global Challenge, which I hope everyone has and will take personally. I also hope that watching this video has inspired you to take interest in global citizenship and our program. I'd like to end with a quote from Andrew Boyd's article, Daily Afflictions, The Agony of Being Connected to Everything in the Universe. Compassion hurts. When you feel connected to everything, you also feel responsible for everything, and you cannot turn away. Your destiny is bound with the destinies of others. You must either learn to carry the universe or be crushed by it. You must grow strong enough to love the world, yet empty enough to sit down at the same table with its worst horrors. Thank you.